Saul Dominguez? Okay.
That's correct, Judge.
And is this Judge Alyssa Perez resuming the criminal docket for July 27th? Mr. Marufo, would you call our next case, please?
In cause number 2018-030-2451, State of Texas versus Saul Dominguez Rivas. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state is ready.
Good morning, Your Honor. Regina Arditi on behalf of Saul Dominguez Rivas.
And we are not scheduled this morning, but we are scheduled at 1:30 for a revocation, an in-person revocation hearing. I believe we had our pre-revocation hearing on June 27th. Prior to that, we had probation status hearings. It looks like on June 15th and May 18th. Let me go back into the events.
And that is correct, Judge. And the recommendation was 2 years TDC. And it is scheduled for a contested hearing this afternoon. However, it's not going to be a contested hearing. My client is going to take the 2 years TDC. He just wants to ensure that he gets credit for time served. He'd been arrested in New Mexico and did time in Albuquerque and I believe in Las Cruces. And he just wanted to make sure that the court was aware and if the court would give him credit for time served, not only in Texas, but for the New Mexico time.
Do you have those dates, Ms. Arditi?
I don't have them right in front of me, but I do have the probation officer, Lorena Garcia. She has all the dates and the times.
Okay, well, I did not receive any paperwork with respect to a plea of true. So if the intention was to do that at 1:30, I don't have that paperwork. Is that what we were thinking was going to happen?
That was my understanding, but I have not received any paperwork for that. And so.
Hold on, Ms. Arditi. Mr. Vandenberg, was that the agreement you all had and were you aware of that?
That was the agreement in terms of the 2 TDC, but we did not understand that it was going to, I understand it was going to be a contested hearing. I didn't know that there was an acceptance of the 2 TDC.
Okay, so you never, or Ms. Elizalde never received a communication from Ms. Arditi indicating that he had accepted the 2 years?
We don't recall that, Your Honor, no.
Okay, well, in any event, our hearing is scheduled for 1:30. If memory serves, and I'm not going to totally rely on my memory, but I think you had filed a motion for continuance, Ms. Arditi, for the last hearing, correct?
That is correct. And the judge and you had graciously granted that continuance, Your Honor. And we had said.
Hold on a second. That was done at the jail slot. And again, relying on my memory, I think I had done that. Let me ask, Mr. Marufo, can you look back at the June 15th probation status hearing? That one was in the morning. And then again at the May 18th. Ms. Arditi, did you appear for both of those?
I appeared for, let me get you the dates that I did appear, Your Honor. I did appear for all of them except for the one that I filed the motion for continuance, Your Honor.
Right, that would have been the very last one. Is this the individual? I think this is the one that when I reviewed it, I don't know if it was which May setting it was, but when I reviewed it, give me 1 second. Let me go back very quickly. Oh, that's an old. I gotta go through these just a little bit. Ah, yes. This is going to be the one where I guess you were appointed. Is that correct, Ms. Arditi?
That is correct. And Judge, I'm looking back at my notes on the June 15th hearing. It was reset for 2 weeks because
we were in
problems. No. The court was having problems with the microphone. Okay.
The court was?
Yes, it says reset hearing, reset for 2 weeks. Myrna having problems with her mic.
Okay.
That was the June 15th. So I did appear for it, but there was problems with the mic. And so we did not actually have a hearing on the 15th, Judge. We had had a hearing Let me go
Hold
back.
on, Mr. Diddy, I thought the 15th, wasn't that the one you asked for a continuance? Isn't that when you had
No.
the dentist appointment? No?
No, I asked for a continuance on the hearing for,
And I'm not looking at the events. Let me go first, I guess. The reason I think I had requested that this be in person was because when we had, I don't know which May setting we had, or if it was before the one for which you asked for a continuance, I reviewed your attorney verification when you got appointed on this case. And that verification submitted said that you were unable to locate the client. And that client, of course, was in custody.
but I
And
did
so
speak to him.
that's where I was confused because, of course, the verification is to verify that you've made contact with your client. And so that was filed on May 2nd. And I'm sorry, on May 3rd. You received your appointment on May 2nd. On May 3rd, you verified that you were unable to locate him when he was sitting in custody. That was odd. Let me see.
I did visit with my client though, Your Honor.
Okay,
And I found out that he was in jail and I went ahead and had visits with him in jail. Not actual visits per se, face to face, but I had the visits through the videos.
okay. And
So I have spoken with him
Mhm.
and at the very first hearing that we had, Judge, the very first one,
Mhm.
you had said that you were going to not allow him to do probation
Correct.
because there had been some violations out of New Mexico and he'd already been revoked. And so you said that the minimum you would give him was 2 years TDC.
Mhm.
So I spoke to him about that and he agreed to it. And he said the only thing he wanted to make sure of is that he got the credit for time served out of New Mexico because Texas had a warrant. So New Mexico had picked him up on those warrants. He also had violations in New Mexico, but he was also picked up on the warrants from Texas.
Okay. So
He
let me fast forward. So we're looking at a hearing today at 1:30. I have it down for a revocation hearing. I don't have paperwork with respect to the plea of true. The state was unaware that your client had agreed, was in agreement so that we were not having a contested revo. We are still set at 1:30. If your intention is to, at that hearing, have your client plead to the 2 TDC, number one, I'm going to need to know the details from you of his time in New Mexico. I don't really have a problem giving him that credit, Ms. Arditi. It's just
Okay.
I need to know specifics. And usually attorneys will bring in like a printout from the jurisdiction of the time that he was in custody. And then obviously, if we're actually going to do the plea of true, that is an essential hearing and it does require your presence in person.
And Your Honor, I apologize for, I thought because the case had been continued, this one was going to be like it would be moved from the last hearing to this so that I could tell the court that my client was going to be pleading true and then get the paperwork. And so that was,
Sure. And that's
I
what we can do at
misunderstood, Judge.
and that's what we can do at 1:30. So if you'd like to log in at 1:30 so we can have your client here, we have him transported, Mr. Manufo?
Correct, Judge.
Okay. So the jail will transport him over. So he will be here physically in person. I guess basically what you're telling me is we're going to put on the record that your client is accepting the 2 TDC, and then we will schedule it for an in-person plea of truth.
Thank you, Your Honor. I truly appreciate your consideration and your understanding, but
Sure.
there was that misunderstanding because I had had the motion for continuance. I thought that hearing was being moved to this slot.
Okay.
And so I was going to announce to the court that he was going to take the TDC,
Sounds good.
2 TDC, and then I can get the exact times from Ms. Garcia, because she
And-
has all the exact times. from
And
New
as long
Mexico.
as you have that, feel free to email it to Ms. Hernandez. And I'll have it there in
Perfect.
form. And then we'll see you at 1:30. Okay,
Thank you so much, Judge. You have a
Thank
good day, and thank you for your consideration. I truly appreciate that.
absolutely. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
then.
May I be excused, Judge?
You may.
Thank you.
Do
Thank
we
you,
have
David.
That's up. I see Miss Pages and I think she's on the motion to recall. Is that right?
Yes, Judge, on page J, Judge, and her client is here also.
Morning, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Marufo.
Morning, Ms. Pages.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Let me just double check something. Oh. All right, let's get started.
In cause number 2022-0D03040, State of Texas versus Mario Ben Jr. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state is ready.
And Myrna Page is on behalf of Mr. Mario Ben, ready as well, Your Honor.
And I'm sorry, did you say your client was here? Oh, there he is. Okay, and your client, is that him, Miss Pages?
Yes, Judge, that is him.
Okay. Is appearing, defendant is appearing remotely as well. We are scheduled today for a motion to recall the capias. Miss Pages, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. So basically, Judge, my client, Mr. Ben, was on a PR bond. He did pick up a new offense, and so that is why there was a warrant issued based on this new offense. It's my understanding that it's a manufacturing delivery of a controlled substance, Judge. It has been indicted and we are not appointed. So in addition to my motion, I am asking that the court appoint us. That way we can also work on this new case, Your Honor. But so I wanted to give the court a little bit of background on this new offense, Judge. So my client at the time of this offense had been renting his father's home at 2414 Louisville, and there were a couple of tenants living there. My client has provided copies of that paperwork regarding rental agreements between him and some tenants that were there. And so when a warrant was executed at this 2414 Louisville, my client was not in El Paso County, Judge. He was in Grants, New Mexico. I do have some witnesses available for the court if the court wishes to hear from them. But the reason why he was in Grants, New Mexico, Judge, is because he has a family member by the name of Sylvia Nieto, who was undergoing some health conditions, and she's still actually going through some health problems right now. And so she's awaiting a kidney transplant. So the family sort of had to get together to kind of figure out what to do, what's going on with her situation. I do have his sister Blanca, who is available for the court, who could basically indicate, let the court know about this family reunion, as well as another cousin who was present and actually saw Mr. Mario Ben there in Grants, New Mexico for the family gathering. So he was not there when the warrant was executed. It's my understanding that one of the tenants may have been arrested or charged. I don't know the details because I don't have access to that new case. In addition to that, Judge, my client, while on PR bond, I believe that he's always reported to the court. I don't think there's been any issues. If there have been issues, it might have been miscommunications between counsel and him, with respect to court dates and stuff like that. But I believe he's pretty good about reporting. He reports to Mr. Marufo. There is no other indication of any other violations other than this new offense. And I do believe that he does have a valid defense. So he's not a flight risk, Judge. He does live here in El Paso County. He's lived here for years.
Ms. Pages, let me ask you, because what I'm asking to look at, and I see a bond order. I just don't know if we ever went back and reviewed his bond. Was he restricted to remain in El Paso County?
No, Judge. So I did look at that. He was not. There were no restrictions that I could see. He was on intensive supervision, I think because of the nature of the offense. But he's pretty good about reporting. He's always maintained contact with me because he does want to resolve this very serious charge that he has. He's indigent, Judge. He cannot afford the bond. I think the court put a new bond. I want to say it's at 200,000 cash surety, but I'm not sure about that. And then he has a cash bond on that new charge, which we can't handle because we're not appointed on that case right now. So the only offense that I can really handle at this point is the one ending in 3040. Your Honor, and in addition to that, my client actually provided me a list of medications that he currently takes. He does have hypertension and he's a diabetic. His doctor is Dr. Brooker on Vista del Sol. Him having to be in custody would be very, very bad for his physical health, Judge. So I am asking that the court reinstate a PR bond for him. He is here, Judge. His family is available via Zoom if you wish to hear from those witnesses as well, Judge.
I'll leave with respect to the witnesses, Ms. Pages, I'll leave that one up to you. Let me just throw some things out there. I did review the violation notice, and I believe that 2023, the case, I think it has a date of offense of February. It was a non-arrest, and I am not able to look at it, and it is not assigned here. It's not mine until he turns himself in on that case.
Okay.
It needs to be booked on the 2023 0D03222. Obviously, it won't be mine. It will come here.
Okay.
And do you know what the bond is on that case?
I am not sure, Judge, because I have very limited access, and the only reason I know about it is because it's listed on the affidavit of the PR bond.
Correct. And that I'm in the same situation. In fact, I think I'm going to have to make a request with the district clerks because the court does not have access to a non-arrest case. So even if I go in and I type in that number, it says no match found because it's a non-arrest case. So I may have to make a request there, but I'm unable to see it, and I'm in the same boat. The only reason I know of the case is because it was listed from PR. I think what Ms. Welch is telling me, it's 30,000. Yeah, 30,000 on the new case. So thank you, Desmond. I didn't see any other violations either, Ms. Pages. In terms of your witnesses, I'm not sure what it is you are wanting to convey to the court with that, but certainly if you want to call anyone, you may.
I don't know if they're in the waiting room, Judge. I did provide them the Zoom link.
Who are your witnesses?
I have Blanca, and I don't recall her last name. And then I have a Cindy Aragon. I'm sorry, Adele Aragon and Blanca.
Adele and Blanca. Is there anyone in the waiting room, Mr. Butterfield?
I show Blanca Chavez and an iPhone that I haven't identified.
Mr. Ben, is Blanca's last name Chavez?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I will go ahead and call her, Judge, since she's in there.
Okay. Ms. Chavez, did you connect to audio? Yeah, she's not connected. Oh.
I think she might be connected.
And ma'am, if you could just unmute.
We can't hear you because you're muted. It's next to the camera. It kind of disappears sometimes. You have to touch it and then, yes, there you go.
Ms. Chavez, Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. Ma'am, you have been called as a witness in this bond hearing, so I need to swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that any testimony you provide will be the truth and the whole truth? Ms. Chavez, do you swear to
Yes.
the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you very much. You can
swear.
put your hand down. Ms. Pages, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Chavez. Can you please state your name for the record?
My name is Blanca Chavez.
And how old are you, ma'am?
I'm 42 years old.
How are you related to Mario Ben?
I am his second youngest sister.
Back in February of this year, was there a family gathering in Grants, New Mexico?
Yes, there was.
And was it in reference to a family member?
Yes, it was.
And which family member was that?
My cousin Sylvia Nieto.
And what is going on with Miss Nieto's health?
So she is a survivor of kidney transplant receiver, and she's also due for a second kidney transplant. So basically, she's on dialysis.
And was Mario Ben present in Grants, New Mexico in February of 2023?
Yes, he was.
And how do you know this?
Because when he was there, I called because he sent me a picture that he was going to be there. And then I decided to call in, and I got to speak with a couple of my cousins as well, which was Sylvia's younger sister. So I was able to speak to a couple of my cousins while he was there and while he was mingling with them.
And did you speak with him one time, or was this throughout the stay and throughout the family gathering?
It was throughout the family gathering.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Vandenberg, do you have any questions for Ms. Chavez?
Questions, Your Honor?
All right, thank you, Ms. Chavez. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
Do you have another witness, Ms. Pages?
I don't believe the other witness is logged on, Judge, so I think this will be the only witness.
All righty. Do you have anything else for the court?
Nothing further, Judge, just if you can, if the court can consider just reinstating Mr. Ben's bond on this case, and then I will go ahead and instruct him to report on his other new case, and once we are appointed, we can take care of that case, Judge.
All right. Mr. Vandenberg?
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would object to the relief requested. Mr. Ben has a history which is very concerning to the state. It's out of California. Willful cruelty of a child, 1998. Inflicting corporal injury on a spouse or cohabitor, again, 98. Battery in 99. Grand theft in 2012. Burglary in 2011. More significantly, right now, we have this violation which was accrued during the pendency of this case, and the facts of that, and this is 2023 0D0 3222, Mandel controlled substance, penalty group 1, up to 200 grams, first degree felony. The officers in this set up a surveillance and executed a search warrant. There were 2 bedrooms in a house. In the southwest bedroom, there were documentary links. There was a GECU statement and Arizona certificate of title that belonged to Mr. Ben found there. Officers located a knotted bag containing a white powdery substance, which was tested positively for cocaine, 11.77 grams, on top of a gun case. Also on the gun case was a digital scale with white powder residue. Mr. Ben was observed leaving the suspected house freely, utilizing a key prior to the execution of the search warrant. There's a codee in this matter, and the codee was found with 203 pills with M30 stamped on it. They field tested positive for fentanyl. Additionally, there were multiple digital scales, plastic straw pipes, glass pipes, multiple mini Ziploc bags, numerous pieces of foil with distinctive burnt marks that indicate there was illegal narcotics use at the residence, Your Honor. Given the nature of this subsequent violation, the prior convictions that Mr. Ben has. The state is very concerned. If you look at the nature of the other pending cases, there are 24 counts. The most serious one is continuous sexual abuse of a child victim under age of 14 years. Because of this, because of the flight risk that Mr. Ben has contacts to California, he obviously has family contacts in New Mexico. He's a flight risk. We would ask that the relief be denied, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Pages?
Your Honor, if we can get the name of the co-defendant from the state.
Let me see if I can pull it up for you.
While we wait for that, Ms. Welch, in terms of having him turn himself in on that 2023 case, your suggestion that we make that an in-person hearing so that we can do some type of fast track booking, and is it fast track enough to where once he does, the case will immediately get assigned here so that I can review the bonds?
Yes, Judge. So what I was thinking is maybe we can set it for an in-person, keep the warrant active. When he comes in, I'll recall it. And the fast track booking, usually it's about 10 minutes, I believe. And then after that, it usually takes a day or two for the case to get officially assigned to us.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Marufo.
Mr. Ben did check in on 11/8 and also on 9/20 of 22, Judge.
Have we not had hearings since then?
No, Judge.
Let's see.
Oh, yes, Judge, we had a pretrial this year, Judge.
I think he had a hearing before a holiday, and I was told that he had to check in on Friday before the Monday, something like that. I remember, Judge.
Let me see. I just want to confirm, I mean, he's here today, so it looks like we had a final judges on March 14th, a status conference on February 21st, a pretrial on January 17th.
On 117, he showed up, Judge. He checked in on 117 also, Judge, of this year.
Mhm. What about February 21? That's close to the date of offense on the new case. Ms. Pages, are you and your client available to continue this hearing at 1:30 in person?
I am available, Judge, and let me see. Let me just double check my calendar.
Sure. We can do it at 2. I know we have something else at 1:30. What else, Marujo?
He did check in in February, Judge.
And March 14th? I have March 14th, April 25th.
I can come in at 1:30 or at 2, Judge. Is Mr. Ben?
Yes, ma'am.
The court is asking you to come to the courthouse at 1:30 today.
Okay, I
Okay,
can
so
be there.
continue this hearing.
My
Yes, ma'am.
thought is, so your client isn't in the dark, so to speak, unless there's something else from the state. My thought is, we may recall the KPS on this case, but I want to get the new case squared away. So have him here and potentially have a bond order on that 30,000 cash surety. So you may want to talk to your client about that. And I will readdress this in terms of a bond at that time. So for example, when he gets booked, Ms. Welch, can we have a bond order? I mean, I don't know how, if it's not assigned here, how we can square away that bond is what I'm thinking.
So since it's unassigned,
Mhm.
we still have jurisdiction at district clerk's office, so I can create a bond order and I'll choose certify and everything. That way he can get released ASAP.
Okay. Okay. All righty. Mr. Marufo, what's the rest of that history?
On March, he also checked in, Judge, and on 4/25 for the final plea deadline, he did check in, Judge.
Did we get that February 21st one?
Yes, Judge, he checked in.
Okay. All righty. Okay. Well, then my thought is we take care of this at 1:30 or 2 whenever you all get here. Okay.
Okay, well, did,
All right.
Thank
We'll
you,
see you
Judge.
then. Thank you.
Fine.
Who's next?
Judge, bottom of page 5, Judge.
Ooh, because I think my paging is different from
Oh,
yours.
it's Martinez Manuel, Judge.
Okay.
I'm sorry, is this Manuel Martinez?
Yes, sir.
I see it's a pre-revel, but we have our 2 new cases. Mr. Anderson, good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
Him, okay. My thought is we're carrying this pre-revel along with the, and that's Mr. Martinez. He is appearing remotely as well. Are we just carrying the probation case with the 2 new cases?
Think so, Judge. I think you suggested that Mr. Martinez go out to the West Texas Behavioral Health Center. I think he's been there for many months and is back now. I think that's what was done after the when those cases were P files, and so now they've been indicted, and we're back here after Mr. Martinez did his stint out there.
Mr. Martinez, how are you doing? Don't tell me anything about your cases.
Make sure you're not muted, sir.
Yeah, he is, but it also looks like he's kind of driving, so I don't want him to.
There we go.
How are you doing, Mr. Martinez?
Good morning.
Okay, Mr. Anderson, we are scheduled on those new cases for arraignment. So of course, if you haven't turned in your waivers, please turn them in. Mr. Vandenberg, have you had a chance to look at those cases and is there a rec?
No, we regret that. Again, we've had problems with our systems yesterday.
Oh, well, welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me go over the case summary just quickly. You continue reporting to the substance abuse caseload and be encouraged to pay off restitution. There's only $190. I say only, I know $190 is never a little bit of money, but and not neglect his TAP aftercare attendance. So you're still in aftercare, Mr. Martinez?
Yes, ma'am. I just started yesterday.
Okay.
And
How long is that supposed to last? Who's covering this case? Manuel Martinez.
Monica de la Cruz, Your Honor, with adult probation.
Ms. De La Cruz, how long should that take for him to complete?
It can be approximately 3 months, Your Honor, for him to finish his aftercare.
Okay. Do we have a motion pending in the probation case?
I believe, let me go back. I believe it was dismissed based on the fact that he was modified to be HRTC.
Okay. Okay, I was gonna say if there was one, we'd hold on to it until he finished the aftercare, but if we've already dismissed it, I'm fine. We'll carry the probation case with the new cases, Mr. Martinez, so your attorney will be working on those. Okay?
okay, thank you.
Stay on track,
sounds
Mr.
good.
Martinez. Don't make life harder for yourself, okay?
No, not anymore. I'm done with that.
Okay, take
Yeah.
care. You're excused.
Your
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. We'll see you at the
Thank you,
next
Judge.
setting. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Who's next?
Judge, on page 7.
Mhm.
In cause number 2021 0D03105 and 2021 0D03104, State of Texas versus Woodcutme Abzerkat. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state. The state is ready.
Ms. Caballero there? Ms. Caballero, are you there?
See them going after that. And there's like some.
Your Honor, I'm on another Zoom now. Can they just called my case. I'm gonna put this on mute. Hi, Judge, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I was
that's
in
for us?
CC7.
Great. I'm sorry. It wasn't technically going to be on the record, but I did want to address it because I saw your recent motions. And so, Mr. Vandenberg, these are set for final judges and we're specially set for trial in August. I just want to make sure you're aware on the record that defense has been, Ms. Caballero, I'm going to mute you just for a second. There's been a request for some documents. I have not set that for hearing today, but Ms. Caballero, if you need a hearing on it, please let us know sooner than later. I don't know if they've reviewed it or responded to you.
Your Honor, I am going to need a hearing. And it's my memory, but Mr. Vandenberg has ordered the transcript, but it's my memory that I have asked for these in prior hearings. And it's my memory that you told them to get me the IA investigation stuff. But I didn't note it in my file. I couldn't tell you which hearing it was. Maybe the court remembers.
Your Honor,
I remember you mentioning it. I don't remember there being anything beyond a mention. I do see it, the first I remember in my memory, who knows, but was at the last hearing. And I feel like that was the first hearing Mr. Vandenberg has ever been assigned this case.
that's
Okay.
correct.
So let's get the hearing set. Myrna, we'll have to figure out, Ms. Caballero, feel free to have your office contact Ms. Hernandez in terms of a date, because I know everybody's really busy, but we're going to have to move on this quickly.
Your Honor, can I ask you to order it now? Do we need a hearing for that?
Are you prepared to respond? I'm not set. I didn't have this set for hearing. Mr. Vandenberg, are you prepared to respond to that request?
We will respond in the future. We need 3 days notice for a hearing.
Okay. So we're going to get this set. Myrna, what does Wednesday look like? And I'll ask council to check your calendars.
Okay.
Let me go to ours. I think we could.
The afternoon is available at 1:30.
Okay, I have a tax docket though. Let me double check
Oh,
that.
that's right. We have two pleas
We can
scheduled at 3
do,
p.m.
yeah, we can do 3. It will probably be 3:30. 3:30 because we have a plea at 3.
That's the second.
Yes, ma'am.
Where I'm available.
Beautiful. 3:30. Let's go ahead and set those motions for 3:30 on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you for appearing. I wanted to make sure
Thank
we took care of that. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Who's next?
Page 9, Judge.
Coronado and Mr. Limon.
Yes, Judge.
Limon.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. We just reset this a week out, ¿verdad? Who's here on Mr. Limon? Good morning, Mr. Limon. Ms. Serrano, is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
What were we? Oh, well, let's call it.
In cause number 2019-0D07005, State of Texas versus Edward Joseph Limon. Announcement of council, please.
David Vandenberg on behalf of the state, and the state is ready.
Sergio Coronado on behalf of Edward Limon, we're ready.
Brianna Serrano for adult probation, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Limon is also appearing remotely. This was, I hope this is right. One last follow-up with Mr. Limon. I think, Ms. Serrano, I'm seeing here a recommendation just to continue on supervision. And does he still have the alcohol monitor?
Yes, Your Honor, he does have the monitor. And I believe at the last hearing, the court was waiting for the TAP assessment to be done in order to get the counselor's recommendation. I did email the court with the counselor's recommendation, and her recommendation was for him to do recovery support services. And he did get partnered with Project Punta and I'm probably saying this word wrong.
Punta de partida?
Yes. And he did get a coach, recovery coach in the process. He did inform me that in the office visit on 7/10.
Okay. And they did not take any kind of or give any kind of advice on whether it would be useful for Mr. Limon to be on a monitor or not?
They did not. She did put that if he does have any positive UABAs for him to return to TAP to get another assessment.
Okay, so it sounds like they may be maybe not necessarily objecting, but maybe relying on that as part of a treatment plan, but it isn't explicit. Mr. Coronado? I think I was intending to remove that monitor today. You know, I hate to be going back and forth if some part of his treatment, you know, you tell me about it. Tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, Judge, let me read you what Mr. Velarde, and he addressed it to you. I don't know if you got it, but we received it. We're trying to get it over to your office and to the DA. It's a letter from Mr. Velarde from the Punto Partida. Basically, the letter indicates that this is obviously this is in regard to Edward Limon as his recovery coach at Punto de Partida. I verify that Mr. Limon is complying with his recovery plan at Punto de Partida, taking advantage of community resource, attending Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and that he is going above and beyond to meet the self-directed goals laid out by his recovery plan. And then he just says, if you have any questions, please call me. Leaves his number. So I don't think that they're doing anything other than the Alcoholics Anonymous, Judge. That's all they're requiring him to do, and it's self-directed plan. So I don't think I think what I get from that is that he doesn't need an extensive treatment.
Mr. Limon, you have Ms. Serrano, do you have anything else?
No, Your Honor, except for he's been compliant on the device. I have had no positive BRAC readings from him. If he does miss his scheduled time, he blows within 30 minutes to an hour afterwards. Nothing too major skips wise.
Does probation have a recommendation on the unit, whether to keep it or remove it?
We're referring to the court's decision, Your Honor.
Yeah, Mr. Limon, it really has been your really good performance since we had the issue with the DWI, which got us the monitor. It really has been the fact that you have been compliant in every other way. They're saying, you know, they're working with you on issues with alcohol, which normally would lead me to think a monitor wouldn't hurt. But I know it's a financial burden. And honestly, I'm willing to just give you a chance to not be on the monitor with the assurance that you're going to comply with this other treatment. Okay. Feel like you've progressed, you know, whatever mistakes you've made in the past, you've progressed. I will just, you know, warn you that if you fall off track again, it's going to be very difficult to convince me that you're going to be a good candidate for any more concessions. Okay. So I'm going to remove the monitor and he is to continue with treatment. I do not need to have Mr. Limon come back unless Ms. Serrano probation feels that we need to address something more. Okay.
Yes,
Mr. Limon, do what you're supposed to do and do well. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank
All
you,
right.
Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Coronado. You all are excused. Ms. Serrano, did you need something else from me?
I was just going to ask, do you want probation to submit the modifications to remove it, or was there a modification submitted by the attorneys, or an order submitted by the attorneys?
I would just ask, this was something I think we discussed independently, so I would just ask probation to send that to me.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Coronado.
Thank you,
Mr.
Judge.
Limon, thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'll take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Ms. Serrano. Bye-bye. Who's next?
Judge, I don't know if you're on the same page as me as 11, on page 11 for Orceguera with Mr. Ortiz. I don't know if Mr. Ortiz is in. I know his office is logged in.
Good morning, Judge. Mr. Ortiz is currently finishing with Judge Morales and the defendant is here in our office.
Okay. That'll give me a second. Is anybody? Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else ready? If not, that'll give me a second